everybody. All right. Oh boy. We're there? I think we're going live, monkey. I think we're doing it. Oh boy. Oh boy, puppy dog. Here we are. We're liven it up. Welcome everybody to I guess this is sort of our end of the year spectacular Houston After Dark. Monkey Buzz excited as ever. I'm wearing another fantastic shirt provided by Mystery Mike. I didn't realize it until I put it on that this is technically a shiny shirt. This will definitely go in next year's shiny shirt collection. I don't know if you can see the iridescence coming off of the stripes, but there's silver thread that goes down all the red stripes, and it is digging it. Thank you, Mystery Mike. Our Charity Tuesday, which is really on Wednesday this time around, last I checked, we were at over 3,900. Oh, my microphone is flying in the air. That might help. $3,909 last time I looked. Almost $4,000, almost $4,000 for St. Jude's. You guys were fantastic. There was a bidding war for raffle tickets between Kevin and Hain Train, and then none of them won. Vizio Guy, if you are in here, Vizio Guy, might be a little early in Europe, wherever you are. You are the winner of the calendar. It's signed and has my secret birthday labeled somewhere inside here. So if you can send me a DM on Twitter or Reddit, figure out how to ship it to you out in Europa, wherever you are. My sister felt really bad that Kevin and Hain Train had donated so much money and didn't get one, so she's having 2 more calendars printed just for you two. So if also message me. I don't think those calendars will arrive until like the 10th or 11th. So guys, message me and I will jot your info down and I'll get those calendars mailed to you. They might not have my secret birthday in there because Vizio Guy won the raffle. He gets to know the birthday. So she was stoked that her calendar managed to have us crush the Charity Tuesday record. Absolutely just smoked it. Beat the record by like $1,400 for such a fantastic charity too, St. Jude's. So thank you everybody for doing that, participating and just made my New Year's. So way to go. Good job, everyone. Good job. What? Just give me the side eye as always, buddy. The side eye monster. So, I finally got the After Dark version that Tyler English made for us, Bubism. Are you ready, guys? Ready for the premiere? Are you ready? Are you ready? Dun 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 dun.
Come with us. We are going to the moon. You will be taken along with the astronauts as they explore the unknown, share the thrill of discovery, and expand our understanding of the universe.
The moon is due to have visitors from another
planet. Okay. So I hope that the sound went through. I think should have, hopefully, maybe. So that's Tyler English made that for us. YouTube version has a slight audio video issue at intro. Okay. I put it up there just for the show. Basically to see because it uses a song, but there is like re-editing, so hopefully they don't dock me and then make it so every show I ever do, if I use that, it no longer monetized, because that would suck. That's kind of how I'm getting along now. Music was off, the rest was okay. Wonder if the audio is a little weird. But there you go. So now I have to make sure that's off, because now I've got the potential to have 3 intros all going at the same time and really just break brains here if I screw that up. Okay. What was I supposed to talk about? Oh yeah. So yesterday, Fidelity switched everyone's account numbers for NextBridge to a new QSIP and said, we got the shares, you got them. And then everyone's like, cool, I'd like to register as AST. You can't do that because we don't have your shares. I I joked with folks that I want Fidelity to take a picture of my paper shares holding up today's newspaper as a proof of life to make sure that they actually exist. I don't think they have our shares. I think there's too many account holders with too many fake shares, and they actually cannot do anything about it. They need to whittle down. They need to get rid of some of those naked shares and whittle down before they can actually distribute this stuff. It may be one of those situations that when the chill is taken off and you can actually register, the first ones to register will get into AST and they'll get their paper shares, and then everyone else will be stuck in this weird limbo unless the lawsuits get something changed. No ruling from the judge in Florida today. We're still waiting on that. I was supposed to talk to Alan. He said he had exciting stuff to talk about, and then I got called into work and couldn't. So maybe tomorrow I can talk to him. Yeah, so that's what I have. Anything other? Oh, Twitter lost their Seattle offices. They didn't pay the rent, got evicted. Told everyone to go work from home. After telling them that they work from home, they're fired. So, there's that. What else, Monkey? It seems like the short hedge funds are getting ready to short oil. I don't know if you guys got that vibe as well, but that's like the last thing left that they can short is oil, because oil's been going the opposite direction of everything else. So that might be on the horizon. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into the chit chats and see what you guys got thinking about. Reportedly Stupid wants to know, hey Houston, why does the asteroid belt exist in the way that it does? Did that used to be a planet, or is it just galactic crumbs? No, there were planetoids inside the asteroid belt. I wonder if I have a good map I could bring up to the asteroid belts. We'll get maybe Asterank might have it. Asterank.com. Okay, so that's Mars. No, they don't. They have the near Earth ones. They don't have. That's Earth. That's Jupiter. Is that Jupiter? Nope, sorry. I'm trying to find a map of solar system asteroid belt. Okay, show me. Images. Give me a sec. I'm going to find one that's good. Find one that explains it. And here we go. That's what we want. Okay. Oh, you're too tiny. Don't be so tiny. How about this one? That one's better. Okay. Go to Chrome. Okay. So this guy in the corner. This fine young fellow here. Oops. Well, okay, here we go. So this is sort of a rough drawing of the inner planets. So we got the rocky planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Then there's the asteroid belt. Then there's Jupiter and what are called the Trojans, which are at the L3, L4 Lagrange points. Because I think 1 and 2. I can't remember what the Lagrange points are called. But anyway, so what defines a planet is the ability of that hunk of rock to clear out its orbit. So Earth cleared out its orbit. It managed to scoop up pretty much all the dust and detritus that was in its way, cleared that out. Mars did the same thing, Venus did the same thing, Mercury did the same thing. So there's not too many rocks in the inner planets that are floating around. Jupiter cleared out its orbit, but Jupiter has such a huge gravitational well that what it's done is that in the Lagrange points, which are sort of like these, I don't know what to call them, like tidal ripples, gravitationally speaking, that can trap things. So like the James Webb Space Telescope is at a Lagrange point by the Earth, which will be trapped there forever. As Earth orbits the sun, it will be in its same spot as it goes. So Jupiter cleared everything out, but managed to make sort of a front tail and a back tail of these things. There is no planet inside the asteroid belt. For one, there probably was a planetoid that got blown apart by a large impact. And two, there's not enough material to really make a planet. I think if you were to pack all of the the objects in the asteroid belt into a ball, you would get something smaller than our moon. And the moon's like 1/80th the time it's the size of the Earth. So you get something pretty tiny. There are a couple of significantly sized objects. Ceres, was it Phobos? Not Phobos. Phobos 16? No, the one that's has all the metal in it. Something or other 16. Starts with a P. Whatever. But the really metal heavy objects in the asteroid belt are the result of cores of a planetoid that differentiated. So all the metal had gone to the inside and all the light stuff had gone on the outside. It just got completely blown apart by something huge. And then that molten core floated out into space and froze. So when you get metallic asteroids, that's what's left. And that's why there's nothing big enough to clear this out in here. And it's kind of trapped in this orbital ring between Jupiter and Mars. And it's just going to be there forever. We will eventually get in little spaceships, head out here, gather up all this metal to make cool stuff out of, because there's a lot of it there. And there's enough iron in the asteroid belt that if we ignore the economics of flooding the market with iron, if somehow at today's prices there's enough iron to theoretically make all 8 billion people on Earth worth $100 billion each. That's how much metal is in the asteroid belt. So that doesn't count the gold, platinum, zinc, silver, copper, all that stuff. So there you go. Okay. Joshua Jimmy, good week to be Jerry's Pizza. Monkey butt. What do you want? Oh, you messed up your whole bed, dude. That's what. Being a spaz. You're just being a spaz, dog. Come on. Come say hi. Yes, you do. She's like, if I come say hi, he'll get the treats. Yeah, that's what you're thinking. What you're thinking? Because you've been getting treats? Because Mystery Mike sent them? Yeah. She's very expectant. She's very fine. You know what? There is 3 more in here. That's what you're looking for. That's what you were looking for. Do you want the cookie? You want that one? Yeah, come get it. Yeah, come get it. You gotta take it from me. Come on. Come on. Gotta get it. There you go. Okay. Greedy dog. Learning where things are. Okay. Yeah. Good week to be Jerry's Pizza. How funny is it that Andrew Tate got arrested because he was trying to clap back to a 19-year-old who, quite frankly, just murdered him right off the bat. Yeah, don't bring stupid to a smart fight. That's what I have to say. That is just funny. Okay. But probably stupid. I hope it sticks this time. Wasn't that POS charged with human trafficking before, and it didn't take? Yeah, is it April of last year or April of this year? Everything blurs together through the COVID. Yeah, that's it, buddy. That's all you got. He got raided because he had trafficked a young lady, essentially sold her into doing website porn. And the cops came, raided the house, and she was like, no, I'm here totally voluntarily. And they dropped charges. But I think this time around, the charges have to do with 2 ladies who are perhaps underage. Therefore, they can't be like, no, I'm here voluntarily, because they don't have the agency to do that. That's what I heard. But Andrew Tate's just a sexist, rapey piece of crap. He's not a good person. He's a bad person. Right, Monkey? He's a bad person. Yeah. So hopefully the Romanian police have a great time auctioning off his car collection. So, Monkey. Dude, get up here. I'm not getting you anymore. You get to be a greedy... Get up there. You can be a greedy dog. But, like... You can do your Emperor Palpatine at me. There you go. Look at a little nose. Just frozen in time. There you go. Yeah, sit down. That dog cracks me up. Okay. I thought last time he said it was swatting. Yeah, he claimed it's swatting this time too, but I think they actually charged him and he got released on bail or something. Mario Valdez wants to know why it rains. Everybody, why does it rain? The sun comes out, the air gets warm, warm air rises, where it cools, condenses, forms clouds, and then rains. Curious investor, Houston, is there any hope with Acme at this point? Yeah, I mean we still need a ruling out of the courts. So we have an emergency injunction at TRO in the Northern District of Florida, and the judge could say no, denied. Just as easily, he could say, yeah, approved. We're gonna get 2 more days of trading. So that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on a ruling from the judge. Anything outside of that, I think, is possibly tied up in the courts until a ruling is made. So they might not be able to do much of anything until the court says something. But yeah, there's hope. There's always hope. There's always hope. Nothing is set in stone. You know, the powers that be will try desperately to keep this stuff at bay. But if they keep pulling shenanigans like this on other stocks that are more popular than these little small caps that we dealt with, they do on something big where there's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 10 million investors, then shit's going to hit the fan. And it's going to be huge news. So they've got to watch their steps now. They know that they're fighting a really, really, really large force of people. There's 64,000 plus of us. That's a lot of people to deal with. It's a lot of phone calls that your poor little call center people have to go, oh, fuck, they're calling again. Oh my gosh. Boss, they're calling about NextBridge again. The boss is like, oh, read the script. I don't know. The upper ups won't tell us. And there you go. Brookfield Brothers question: why not reverse split APE into AMC at 10-1? I think what they want to do is allow people to buy at a really cheap price, have it convert to AMC stock at $4 to $6 or whatever, and then do the reverse split so that everyone gets something that's worth like $60. I think that's why. It's a pain in the ass. And the thing is that what it does is it gives these short hedge funds who bought 300 million shares a lot of voting power that they didn't have before. So that's something I am worried about, is that they're going to have these huge short hedge funds with significant voting power in the shareholders, and then they can get their little short hedge fund buddies onto the board at AMC and destroy it. That seems to be a big worry of mine, because these short hedge funds are awful, and that's what they do. That's how a short attack happens. And they're going to have, when the split's all done, they'll have 30 to 40 million of the 150 million shares will be just short hedge funds holding those shares. So that's the thing that kind of pisses me off, is that Adam Aron keeps selling directly to short hedge funds at a discount below market price, rather than doing it the right way, which is selling slowly at market to retail investors. That's what GameStop did, and allowed GameStop to pay off all their debt and to have a bunch of cash on hand to play with. You don't get cash on hand by selling your stock at a discount bulk rate to the assholes who are just trying to destroy you. That's not how you fix your company. That's not how you do a good job in the market. Because Adam Aron's gonna say, we'll do this reverse split. Well, the share price will be $50 to $60, and then we can sell more shares to pay off our debt. Do you know what Adam Aron's gonna do? I guarantee you at this point, because that's what he does every single time. The share price will get to $40 to $60, right? He'll wait 10 months. The share price will get knocked down to $20, and then he'll find some short hedge fund to sell, 100 million shares to at $15 at a discount. That's what he's going to do. That's what he's done every single time so far. He's not going to sell to other retail holders. He's going to find some stupid short hedge fund who will then have a controlling stake in the company and can destroy it whenever they want. That's it, man. The dude has been doing it wrong the entire time. You don't pay off your debt, your $5 billion in debt, by selling 200 million shares at 66 cents. That's not how you do it. It's not hard to figure out, man. It isn't. I mean, if you're buying APE right now, your APE will probably be worth 3 to 5 times what it is when it converts. And, you know, cool. You made it out. You got some money back on that. But long term, I don't see him doing what he's going to sell it to a short hedge fund. He always sells it to a short hedge fund. That's what he does. He's not going to do the right thing, which is selling at market to retail slowly. You just say, oh, we reserve the right to sell this many shares, and we'll let you know when we're done. And then 5 months down the road, you go, hey, we're done. And the share price wasn't affected the entire time. But no. He'll make an announcement, hey, I just sold 100 million shares to Dick Punch Hedge Fund. and the stock price will go, and that'll be that. Andrew Stewart, Houston. None of the securities lawyers will call me back after I explain MMTLP. Feels kind of fishy at this point. Here's the thing about the security lawyers. They know that FINRA has immunity from damages. So you cannot sue FINRA for damages. Not only that, they have immunity from providing discovery in a lawsuit. So they don't have to show you anything, and you can't sue them for damages. They've got immunity from the federal government for their role as a public-private partnership to regulate the markets. And you can't Freedom of Information Act them because they're not a federal agency. So they're a private company. So you can't say, hey, you got to give me this information on your of the stuff, because they go, I don't have to. I don't do that at all. Look at this law that gives me immunity. So eat one. What we need, and so securities lawyers, and they're like, what are we going to do about it? Which is why Rosa's method of seeking the emergency injunction and immediate relief, she's not looking for damages. So there is no immunity for FINRA in that instance. So that's why she's looking for immediate relief via an injunction. So they cannot protect themselves from that and say, hey, I've got immunity, because immunity only qualifies for damages. And so the securities lawyers, unless you're calling them and say, hey, I've got $1 million retainer I'm going to send you right now, they're going to go, hey, I'm not going to play this game. So that's just kind of where it is. That unless you can just give them a fat retainer right off the bat, they're not going to play ball. Plus, if you could get information out of the if you could somehow subpoena documents from FINRA, they're going to send you so many documents that it's going to cost you millions just to process the documents. We're talking 1,000 file boxes full of millions of documents, 99% of which have nothing to do with anything that you need to look at and are just there to waste your time and cost you money. So these lawyers know that it's going to be a 10-year process. It's going to cost $6 to $10 million just to prosecute the case. And who's going to pay for it? They're not going to front you for it. They're going to do a contingency in that point, because it's not like, not like they're going to get the settlement offer and was like, we'll settle for $1 billion and back off, and then they can take a third of that. It's going to be 15 years, and people are going to be dying during those 15 years and not going to be able. It's just going to be a pain. So the security lawyers are like, I'm out. That's what I think is happening. Sad boy. Thoughts on Ryan Cohen's tweet countdown? I think he will buy more shares sometime soon, given the recent drops in price. Not to brag, but I'm up 50% for the year thanks to covered calls on GME. Well, way to go, sad boy. I have actually not seen Ryan Cohen. Why aren't you going? There we go. Go somewhere. Let's see here. Ryan Cohen. Has inflation cured the land of COVID? Teddy making Thanksgiving great. Again. Teddy. Teddy's the book, right? That's the book king. Wisdom Little Ones. I don't know what tweet countdown he's doing. November 19th, November 23rd, and 10 hours ago. I don't know. I'm terrible at these things, sad boy. I have to have somebody paint the picture for me. Oh crap, I'm not following Bucky on this one? I was following that. Oh, well, I'm learning things. Sorry, Bucky. I didn't realize I wasn't following you on this account. I can't remember anything because I've had so many damn accounts. Grandpa Barney. Hey, this is from Froggy. He wanted to make sure you were not left out of all the sellout group. This is for you, Froggy. Love you, Houston. Crack Grandpa's butt off. Sorry, Grandpa. Stirring the pot. Came an eye on my brother. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, Froggy's convinced that Grandpa Barney is secretly a hedge fund plant who buys off YouTubers by sending them super chats. So that's how I'm getting paid off, is by a lineman who's been spending the past month turning our power back on when it keeps going off from all these storms. So Grandpa Barney, thank you. You're a good dude. We are going to do lunch one of these days, and you're going to take me and do burnouts in that Corvette of yours. I wish I still had my Corvette and we could go Corvetting together, but my EGR hose exploded and killed the entire engine. Melted everything. I was really hoping to get another one. Another shitty 80s Corvette with some MMTLP money, but FINRA halted that idea from happening. You're a good dude, Grandpa. Good dude, Grandpa Barney. Jason Blackwell, Houston. The future academic community needs Houston Wade Roza Tawil progeny. I try to convince her that science not fun, so get going, Buster. Everyone's trying to be a matchmaker these days. Ideas Matter 7707. Hey, yeah, Houston. It seems the brokers are just making up their own QSIPs. How do I know my shares are real? Short of getting them transferred to AST, but Schwab also says I can my shares in my account. Can hold your shares in your account. I mean, you should be able to hold them in your brokerage account. We should also be able to register them like that. They're really, really, really trying to slow down the process. And I think they're doing that by doing things like, because it's paper shares, you have to request a transfer via mail, and they just want to just take weeks and have us be like, I can't just click on something online, because they know they don't have our shares. And so the few people that actually go through with it and do the registration, get everything sent, they'll process those ones, and everyone else is just lazy or fed up or whatever. I'm probably going to wait until I get a ruling out of the federal court. When the ruling comes through, if it's a no, if they deny Rosa's motions, then I'll write the letter, get the registration, have everything moved to AST. If it's 2 more days of sales, then I'm going to hold off. I'm going to see what prices these stocks sell for when they're forced to close those positions. And if it's worthwhile, sold. If it isn't, register. So I'm waiting. I'm holding off and I'm waiting. Paul V, any good geology jokes? I mean, don't take that schist for granted. Subduction leads to orogeny. All right. Reclaimer, been under a rock for a couple weeks. Seems like everything's a total disaster. That's pretty much sums up everything right there. Gonna need to pick a rock. Tatiana Popova. Hello, what do you think about transferring shares to ASE account under my name? Someone did today through Fidelity and paid $100. They said it could take up to 4 weeks. Thanks. Yeah, it's gonna take up to 4 weeks because they don't have the shares. They told everyone they did, but I don't think they have shit right now. I think they're just trying to, you know, play some magic wavy hands, don't look behind the curtain type thing. Meow meow. Amber has been dropping deuces in Spain. Can you fly out there and follow her around with a bucket and collect those nuggets so we can make Moaz gold on eBay? What? Meow meow. I don't know who Amber is. I would like to go to Spain. But okay. Someone wants to fly me to Spain and go collect some amber deuces. I guess that's what we're going on. Okay. SJ just popped in to say hi, but can't stay around. Sorry, we'll catch up. Will's recovering from New Year's Eve. I know it's kind of late one night. Oh, Amber Heard. Ah. Okay. That makes more sense. All right. Oh, any excuse to go to Spain there, meow meow. Paul V, do you think they'll turn the machines on for 2 days? Only if they're ordered to, Paul. Only if the court orders them to. Even then, they're going to drag their feet and try to avoid doing it. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, Houston. Have you seen the FDIC meeting talking about not wanting a run on banks due to liquidity issue? Like, we aren't surprised about this following story 3 years ago. Yeah, Meow says Dookie. Just deuces, dookies, nuggets. It's gold, Jerry. Yeah. I mean, there's been run on banks in China like crazy. We have liquidity issues here in the US. The problem is that most Americans are also heavily in debt. So how are they gonna make a run on the bank if they're incredibly in debt? They're not gonna be able to get squat out of any of that. So that's what I think that they've got going for us, is that we owe so much in credit card and car payments and mortgages and equity loans and student loans that none of us have cash. So you can't make a run on the bank if you don't have cash in your account. AJ, your stalker for the film The Man from Earth 2007 here. Hi. I watched The Man from Earth 2007, and I watched The Man from Earth, what was the sequel? Not Cenozoic. Holocene? Is that what was titled? It was one of the eras recently. Made you think. I personally think it could have been flushed out a little more and perhaps made the film 30 minutes longer. The sequel was kind of weird. The implied reactions from folks learning about the main character's history, and I don't want to ruin it for everybody, were less humored and more angry. And I personally, if someone had told me that they had 14,000 years old, I'd have been like, oh, and I would probably been humored. And even then, if it was they somehow demonstrated that yes, they were 14,000 years old, I'd been like, cool. Anyway, moving on. I don't think I'd have been as angry as some of the characters were in that. But I watched that in the sequel. I wonder if there's going to be a third. They kind of set up that there's going to be a third one someday. So I guess we'll find out. I do have a problem, though, when they take actors that are 10 or 15 years older than their character is, and then they try to do a sequel later. And you're like, wow, they're looking really old. It's only been 8 years, but man, they're looking really old right now. They're only supposed to be 40, and I think they're probably in their 60s at this point. I do have a problem with that. Bum, bum. Dr. Spurgeon, the surgeon, Houston. Since CBDCs are meant to replace fiat, do you think they may try to kill crypto by not allowing it to be purchased with digital currency? Uh, I don't know yet. I think right now the CBDCs are specifically for bank-to-bank transactions. I talked about this a little bit with Buzz Margin Call yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Um, the big problem with cash is that it weighs a lot and it's a pain in the ass to deal with. So when you have these big central banks, you've got huge cages in the vault full of cash and gold and stuff that is assigned to all these different banks. So there's, 100 banks in America. You go to a federal bank, there's 100 cages representing each one of these different banks who are members of the Federal Reserve. And when clearing happens at the end of the day or end of the week, end of the month, whatever, they look at the cash and they, okay, the cage of Wells Fargo owes $100 million to the cage of Chase Manhattan. The Bank of America cage has to send $50 million over to the, I don't know, U.S. bank cage and so on. And then they literally take pallet jacks and they take the pallets of cash and drop them off from different cages. And then boom, everything's settled. With the CBDC, you've got this giant room full of cash and you can just electronically allocate that pile. It doesn't have to go from different banks. You just know that we've got $10 billion in cash in this vault. It belongs to the federal bank now. And then we divvy that 10 billion up according to this central bank digital currency. So everything can get resolved without some poor guy physically moving cash back and forth across a room from cage to cage. That's the initial use that they're going to be using it for. So it's going to be just bank-to-bank transactions and see how well that works. And that's going to be sort of their proof of concept. And if it can go beyond that, then you'll probably have a cash and CBDC system, at least for a while, because the U.S. economy needs the ability to ship cash around the world. We're not going to kill cash right away because, a digital currency isn't going to work in rural Nigeria. It isn't going to work in the jungles of Burma, right? You need physical cash for those places because they don't have the electricity, they don't have the internet infrastructure, and so on. And so you can't ruin a selling point of your fiat currency, that's the global currency, if all of a sudden you pull the ability of all these rural places, which is 2/3 of the world's population, from being able to use your currency to make purchases. Dollar's king, man. So they're going to have a two-part system for quite a while until they can, raise up the infrastructure of 2/3 of the planet. So that's what I think. Oh, shoot, I missed a Just in My Head super chat here. Just in My Head. Scientifically, what does the experience of death feel like? Well, that's dark, Justin. No one knows. We do have instances of people dying, being physically dead, and then being brought back to life. It appears that for the most part, the way the brain operates is that it just kind of slowly spools down if it's a slow death, or just, you're just dead. That's it. I don't think there's any experience. You're just like there 1 second, gone the next. There's maybe a few little flashes of electricity firing in your brain before it's over. But I mean, it's really hard to do that experiment because you're gonna have to like kill people, bring them back, ask them how it felt. How did it feel to die? And they're like, well, it was a bright light, and then I went to it, and then it was over, and then you guys are all of a sudden exploding my heart with electricity again. So I don't know. The cat is outside yelling. Well, he can stay out there because he's been inside yelling all day. So I don't know. You have to talk to people, enough people who've had near-death experiences. My near-death experiences are I should have been dead, but somehow my brain wasn't smashed, and so I never actually like lost consciousness or whatever. Except for the time I got hit by the car, but I don't really remember much other than like coming in and out of consciousness in that one. But I've never been had my heart stopped or anything. My friend Brett, who I revived, who had a heart attack, and I revived him 6 times before the EMTs came. He doesn't really remember anything. Just died, dropped dead on the floor. We revived him. He booted back up. He's like, "Who are you people? Where am I? What's going on? I'm really scared." We'll try to make a run for it and then collapse again. And we and then boot him back up again. And he'd be like, "Who are you? Where am I? I'm really scared. I want to go home." And that would just happen like 6 times. And so I don't think he doesn't really seem to have a memory of any of the 6 times he died, and we brought him back. I guess it was 7 times because he did, I guess, die in the ambulance once on the way to the hospital, and I revived him again. And then, they cut out 70% of his heart, put in a beef heart, install this pump to the outside that whirred his blood through his body, so his heart actually didn't beat, so he didn't have a heartbeat for 4 or 5 months before he got a donor heart, and now he's got someone else's heart inside of him. But yeah, I don't think he has any memories of the act of dying. That's the only person I really know. But yeah, it was like an Etch-a-Sketch. Every time he went down, just sort of shook out and just cleared all the memory out of his brain. The RAM was unplugged, and then he'd spool back up and not know where he was, who anyone was, and just be like, "I'm scared. My flight response is kicking in," and then take off. Reclaim where you died. Sorry, that's a taxable event. And Nagy says he's taking care of patients who are in a lot of pain. Ugh. And then lots of people, there's a whole conversation about death going on now. Matt Johnson, the Sears guys were talking about $5 billion in the liquidating trust. If we subtract the total value of bonds, what is left for shareholders? I don't know how much the Sears bonds are worth. Let's see if we can find Sears bonds. Okay, domestic bonds, Sears Holding. Let's see what we got here. They got 24 million on that. Okay. Is there any other Sears bonds? Let's look up Sears bonds. Just show me all the bonds. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Any more? Oh, there's a lot. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they're all for different amounts here. That's 43 million. Shoot. I don't want to click on all of them. Let's just assume the average is, I don't know, 30 million. And you have, what, 12 of them? So click on that. Where's my calculator? Clear 12 times, I don't know, I'm totally pull this on my butt. 30 million. So that's 360 million. So I would leave 4.7 billion, 4.6 billion for investors. How many outstanding shares? S Sears HHLDQ. Sears shares outstanding. That's from 2018. So 100 million shares outstanding. Okay. So if we do, we'll say 4.6. Whoops. 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Divided by 100 million. That puts it at $46 a share. I'd be nice. I could go for that. I would appreciate $46 a share. Yeah, that wouldn't be so bad. Works for me. That's if there's $300 million in bonds. $400 million in bonds, somewhere in there. That works for me. I'm happy with that. Would you guys be happy with that? Meow meow. I will from here on out refer. I think refer to Miss Hurd as Miss Horse with a silent S. Ah. Put a lot of stake in her, huh? You know, as much crap as Amber Heard has got, if she physically abused Elon Musk, I don't know if it's such a bad thing. All right. Okay. Hey, Houston from Cheshire K. If trading is opened again, do every single MMTLP share have to be closed? And I mean, to the last share, what happens if trading stops again and you have unsold shares? I think it would come down to what the judge's order is. If the judge says trading will be open for 2 more days, and you brokers, FINRA, DTC, SEC, all of you guys must make sure in those 2 days that every single solitary short share is closed. And I want to see the accounting. Then the only way they're going to be able to close all those short shares is to make the price go absolutely nuts. To the point where anyone who has shares is like, you know what? I'm out. And that's it. That's the only way they're going to do it. If they pussyfoot around like, well, I'm not going to pay that much for it, and then they end up still having short shares in those 2 days, then the judge, Roza, whoever would have the ability to sanction like crazy. And those sanctions could just be ridiculous. And Roza would at that point be able to do her whole, like, what do they call it? The remitting bodily, whatever was she talking about when you just, you arrest the person and throw them in jail for contempt. I forget the term she used for that, but it sounded cool. She could probably do that because they'd be in contempt. They didn't do what their order demanded, which is close all those shares. And the only way they can close all those shares is by offering insane prices for the shares. So that's how they have to do it. Jason Blackwell, Houston, someone asked for a geology joke. I'll try to dig one up. I do enjoy your memes you make every week, Jason. They're hilarious. Symbols. So apparently, our Korean friend wrote in the chat that actually their name transfers to a person. This is what the translation means. Just a person. You want to come in? All right. How did you get inside? I thought you were outside, but all right. So the cat's coming in. Come on, Chitty. Come on up here. Say hello to everybody. There we go. Chupa Batman's in the house. He's come to say hi. Oh, you old purr machine, butt scratch addict. Okay. Keith Dixon, Houston. Been slicing a lot of pie over the holidays. How does the process work on a molecular level? Am I breaking molecular bonds with force? You are not actually breaking molecular bonds. You are breaking static bonds. When you got a sticky substance where you get this material that wants to stick together, that is due basically to static bonding. And did you just put a hole in my hand somehow? Hi, buddy. And that's static bonding. So what you're doing is you are taking electrons. You're going, no, we're not. These molecular compounds are no longer going to be together. And a lot of times they still have a lot of sticky charge to them, and that's and essentially it's friction if you think about it. And they're being held together with, they're very viscous substance. Hi, Katie. And there's a lot of friction involved, and that's sticky static bonding friction stuff. And somehow I just got a tear in my nail, and that sucks. Hi, buddy. You were just all over the place. Look at the cat butthole on TV. Look at the butthole. Just hiding right there, kitty. Showing everyone your good side, huh? Somehow a cat's only a foot tall, but its ass is always in your face. Okay. Scott Lumley, Houston, just a heads up. You talked a couple of times about, oh, shoot. And then that just reset. Where'd it go? I lost Scott Lumley's. The whole chat just reset. Where are we? We're back here somewhere. Scott Lumley. Cat, you were on the keyboard. You were opening things up. You're opening windows and shutting windows. Go over here, buddy. Go over there. Right. Oh, you can't lay down because that's in the way. All right. So there. Okay. Now I got to find Scott Lumley's. I was just reading it and the whole chat just reset on me. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Scott Lumley. Scott Lumley. Scott Lumley. Scott Lumley. Scott Lumley. Scott Lumley. Stephen. There's Dr. Surgeon, Sturgeon, Spurgeon. There's that one. There's Cheshire. Heath Dixon. Scott Lumley. There we go. Found it. 10:01 p.m. So I'm 51 minutes behind the chat. Houston, just a heads up. You talked a couple of times about hedgies delivering thousands of boxes of suit. If that's happened, the easiest solution is to hire a firm that can scan and index all information and make it easily searchable. Yes, that's literally what my roommate does. He's a specialist who organizes court cases, and it ain't cheap. It costs a lot. I mean, we're literally talking about millions of documents, right? So you can get 1 million documents. It's going to take time to either photograph or scan every single solitary one of those documents. How much money per hour are you going to pay the people to do that? You have to pay hundreds of dollars for the licensing of the software, the court case software that works with it. You know, it is very expensive. And you got to figure out which documents are the ones that are worthwhile. You got to read through all of them. It's just a ton of time. So let's just say to read, scan, and catalog one sheet of paper is 10 minutes. So that means you might be able to and that just includes like some paper you just put in a big hopper and it scans them all. So then you still have to read and comprehend and figure out where all those documents are going to go. So if you've got 1 million documents, that's 10 million minutes, right? Well, 10 million minutes is only 500,000 whatever minutes in a year. So you're going to need 20 people 24 hours a day just to catalog that many documents and figure them out. Okay, well, that's not logical because how are you going to get 20 people working 24 hours a day? So that's why this stuff starts to get really expensive, because the ones who are capable of understanding these documents, they got legal degrees. They all make $500 an hour. It just gets really expensive in a hurry. Right, Kat? Yeah. So if you're lucky, you got some cheaper paralegals to do a lot of that stuff. But even then, the good ones are going to charge you $70, $80, $100 an hour. Kat, you quit stepping the keyboard. You're going to close a window and just shut the show down by accident. That's what's going to happen. Okay. I'm patiently waiting for my calendar. Mark Sloan asks what happened with Roza's case. You would think the urgency of the case, he'd have made a decision by now. I would have made a decision by now, but then again, I'm completely biased. I would have been like, day one, 2 more days of trading, make it happen. But I'm a biased person who doesn't see this as necessarily urgent matter. A judge, it's very likely the judge could be waiting specifically to see kind of what unfolds over the course of a week or two and to see if it resolves itself without him having to make an order. Because oftentimes, you know, if it can resolve itself and they don't have to do anything, then it will resolve itself and then they don't have to do anything. But I think I don't think it's going to resolve itself. I think he's going to have to make a ruling one way or the other. Quit stepping on the keyboard, Cat. And you're sitting in front of the chat, and I cannot read it because your big fat butt is in the way. Okay. Paul V, do you think aliens really exist, or watching History Channel about UFOs? I think it's possible. I mean, I've seen weird stuff in the sky. Most of you probably seen weird stuff in the sky you can't explain. It's very, very possible that there's intelligent life out there. The likelihood of intelligent life being out there is very small, though. Simply because if we have human beings as the prototypical model of how life comes to be, intelligent life comes to be, then you need a middle-sized star with a rocky planet that is just in the right spot, that isn't too large of a planet, isn't too small of a planet, so it can stay kind of warm and have an atmosphere, has enough carbon to make carbon-based life. It's in a stable enough region in a galaxy so that it's not bombarded with horrible like supernovas and other planets crashing into them and stars exploding here and there. And it takes, 4.5 billion years from when star and planets are created to us being able to broadcast into space and let the universe know that we're here, right? It's a long period of time to get some like hairless apes to go right. He's looking at me like that, cat. And so if you do the calculations, according to Drake's equation, it comes to an intelligent species appearing in a galaxy about once every 10,000 years. Now, there can be, theoretically, species that are over 10,000 years old as an advanced society. But looking at humans, we got technology, we turned it into weapons, and we could annihilate our own civilization at any time very easily with nuclear weapons and cease to exist. Right? We just sanitize the surface of the earth, and then a cockroach people will pop up, 60 million years from now. So, that being said, if an intelligent species lasts for 100 or 200 years before they blow themselves up, that means they broadcast into space, and that broadcast travels at, 1 light year per year, and broadcasts out. And by the time another species appears 10,000 years later, that broadcast could have flowed right by them. Or they appear and die, and then it passes by. So, what it will come down to is the likelihood of more than one intelligent species existing in the galaxy at the same time, which is pretty darn small. So are there aliens out there? Could be. Odds are, maybe not. Or maybe we're the outliers. Maybe we're so terrifying, and so like aliens look at us and see, oh my gosh, these guys kill each other all the time. They are brutal. Don't mess with them, because if they meet us, they're gonna want to kill us because that's what they love doing. They like to kill us and put heads on the wall and whatever because we're humans and we're a bunch of assholes. So maybe they're like they're probing and looking and seeing us, but they don't really want to like have a dialogue because they know that we'll just gonna be like, kill it. That's what we do. I don't know. SS Minnow Johnson, Houston, did you tell her about my $1 donation? It slipped my mind, SS Minnow Johnson. But you did get put in the random number generator there, but Vizio guy won. So if anyone runs into Vizio guy, tell him he's got to message me so I can mail him this thing, because I don't see him in the chat here. He's probably having too much fun. It's New Year's Day for half people in this chat right now. Or New Year's Eve, I guess. New Year's Eve. Yes, New Year's Eve. Stephen Lewis. Houston, if you haven't checked it out, you should watch Nat Geo's Apollo missions to the moon. No narrator, just well-clipped audio, video, and news clips from the time period on Disney Plus and YouTube. Noted. Miss Missy, New Charity Tuesday, Winning Wednesday. I like that. Yeah. Guitar Stuff, Houston, I can't believe you won't stream again for a whole year. I'll see you next year. Sunny Singh wants to print more calendars. I kind of like the idea. It's like the Wu-Tang album. That kind of cracks me up. Danjo, the banjo. Does it seem like AMC reverse split is a bad idea? I mean, won't the shorts just drive the price right back down? That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Is that they'll do this reverse split, price will get driven back down, and then Adam Aaron will do some sort of deal with a hedge fund for stock at a fraction of the price of what it's trading for. And it'll be like not enough to take care of his bonds. And it'll be like, well, guys, enough now. We're still $4 billion in debt. And then the stock price is going to get hammered down to nothing, and they'll dilute the float all over again. The hedge funds will control everything, and then they'll put even worse people on the board and just torpedo the company. NC, another corporate action from FINRA? Is that something we can be hyped about? I know nothing about another corporate action from FINRA. Yeah. Matt Johnson, Twitter didn't lose their Seattle office. They smart-sized their footprint. So it's hard to maintain your offices when your entire accounts payable staff quits, right? And bills aren't getting paid. I'm surprised they even have servers that they can unplug at this point, because I would think that like the server farms be like, we haven't gotten paid, so off. We're going to sell the server space to somebody else. Ted Tremendous, did they take Elon's shares of Tesla from him with margin calls, but we still run Tesla? I'm very curious as to what the margin call entailed. There was reporting in Barron's about it yesterday that Elon got margin called, which means he's got to put up cash. Was he able to come up with cash? I didn't hear about any liquidation happening. There is part of me that's wondering if, because Elon sold like 40 billion in shares at the peak of the market, right? Price is way up here. He sold just tons. And he sold a bunch, probably keep the lights on at Twitter for a while. But he might have 20, $30 billion hanging around, which means he can buy back in and get 3 or 4 times as many shares as he sold and consolidate his power in the company even more. So it might be harder to oust him as CEO. But why would you destroy your own company to have more control over it? Once you break the thermocline trust, it's really, really hard to get back. So, he's losing customers who'll be repeat customers because the quality of the cars are kind of crappy. And B, people don't want to be seen driving around in it. The used car market for it is failing miserably because people are like, well, I'm not going to buy that. Why would I don't want your car? And so the price on used Teslas is just falling through the floor faster than used cars elsewhere in the market. So if you destroy your brand name so badly and you can't bounce back from it, then why would you want to have even more shares in that company? I don't know. Ted Tremendous, how much is spam paying you? You are doing the bidding of spam. We all know it. I get paid by spam. Spam pays me like $60K a week to have that can back here. So, I'm just rolling in it. The cat eats nothing but spam, right, kitty? You eat nothing but spam. You have a full spam diet. That's why it's such a fatty. Monkey Butt is so sick of spam at this point, she just can't even look at it anymore because there's just cases of it everywhere. I kind of want to go another 25, 30 years that can of spam and then see if that dude who eats all the rations from World War II and the Civil War and stuff would eat it. Hey, you want that spam? See if he'd be like, let's get that out on the tray. What's that dude's name? He's awesome. I was just in my head. Missed my pre-show. Super sorry for the random question. I got it eventually. But thank you. Making it dark in here for after dark. Ron Johnson, what's the key mechanism that makes gravity work? The key mechanism that makes gravity work is putting dimples in space-time. That's it. So if you have mass, I have mass. The cat definitely has mass because he's a little fatty. Wherever there's mass, picture space-time being dimpled. So think of like a trampoline and a bowling ball on it, right? So if you try to roll anything past that bowling ball, it'll get caught in the dimple and spiral into the bowling ball. So the more baryonic mass you have, the deeper your dimple and the harder it is to avoid. So myself, the cat, the dog, this glass of water, we have very, very, very small dimples. Large mass objects like the Earth and Moon have big enough ones that they can trap each other in their dimples if they've got tangential motion going on. Really big ones like suns can trap entire planetary systems. the collective mass of a galaxy can trap all the stars inside of it to the center of gravity. Black holes can rip through that fabric of space time, so that you have a hole in space time that you can never get out of. And that's it. That's the model we have. That's our general theory of relativity right there. And the math works. We can calculate the size of the dimples and figure out, how light will travel through that dimple. It'll bend. Einstein had predicted it, and there's a couple expeditions. He said, okay, if this happens, and there's an eclipse where the moon blocks the sun, right? There should be a star that is directly behind the sun, that because the light will bend around the sun, we will see it next to it. And they can calculate where that star should be, where the sun is, say, nope, that star should not be visible. And in 1915, was it? They did 2 expeditions. One went to like Venezuela, and one was Africa to look at the trail of the shadow of the eclipse, and they managed to prove that yes, here's the sun, the star should be behind it, but ding was shown on the side. They went, holy crap, the universe is just a bunch of dimples. And that's scientific experiment action, proving the ravings of a crazed scientist. Seebs88. This is not what my Fidelity rep told me earlier. I requested an ACAT instead of DRS. He mentioned $100 fee to enact the transfer. I'd have to settle funds, but I moved money and we'll try on Tuesday. Okay, because I've got other people sending me their chats with folks saying that, no, we can't do it yet. We won't be able to do it for like a month. There's a bar on Series. BTW brand, can we run out of gravity? Nope. Can humans survive 10 times gravity? Not for long. Eventually, your lungs will collapse and your bones will break. I mean, if 10 times gravity, you're weighing 10 times what you are now, right? So, me at 200 and change, I would be at 2,000 pounds. I cannot squat 2,000 pounds. I would not be able to get up off the ground if that were the case. So it would eventually just crackle my bones and squish me at 10 times the gravity. There are brief moments where humans can handle 10 Gs for a second, right? Fighter pilots when they're doing a turn, race car drivers, but it doesn't take long to like drain the blood out of your brain and then you pass out at 10 Gs. I mean, and like a crash accident, you can experience in an instant like 50 or 1,000 Gs for a brief moment. And it's enough to, if you hit the wrong thing, it can kill you. But if you manage to like pop into an airbag or something, you stand a better chance. Like you can't do sustained 10 Gs for more than a few seconds before you pass out. And then if you goes further than that, then you die. There's some really cool out-of-body experiences that happen with people when they pass out from excessive Gs. Fighter pilots talk about it a lot, that and have these very visceral, real out-of-body experiences where, there's one pilot was the first one to really put it into words. I think it was in the Korean War. He pulled a bunch of Gs in his jet, passed out, and then he was like sitting on the wing of his jet watching him fly. He was like, looks like I should be flying that plane right now, but I don't think I'm awake. That's weird. And then there's guys that were in the centrifuges, had the same experiences. Like they're in the centrifuge is getting to like 10, 12 Gs and they pass out. Wow. And then all of a sudden, like their presence leaves their body and then watches them spin around the centrifuge until the blood comes back to their brain and they wake up and like, bing, pop back. It's very weird phenomena. Cat, your butt is still in the way of the chat. So I gotta scroll higher. Guitar stuff. Houston, how far are we away from engines that can power a spaceship for reasonable travel within the solar system? Weeks and months versus years. I think if we get fusion reactors going, we're a lot closer. Because what you want to be able to create a ship that accelerates at 9.8 meters per second. because that gives you a 1G experience inside the ship. As long as you're constantly accelerating at that speed, it's going to feel like you're in Earth's gravity, which won't tear your body apart. It'll be good for you. Cat, you're just a monster who's always in the way. And if you could get to that point where you could accelerate at 9.8 meters per second on your way to Mars, and then halfway turn the ship around and decelerate at 9.8 meters per second, you could have your entire experience in 1G gravity, get to Mars, and it would take 3 days to do it. Because right now what happens is we whip around the Earth, we whip around the moon, and we slingshot ourselves and coast all the way out to Mars. And that takes like 10 months. Because there's no acceleration involved. We're just coasting. We're just floating along, coasting. And we basically like, Mars is coming along, we did a shot, and we're going to try and like meet it. And that's what we're doing. Right, Kitty? Yeah. But being able to power your way through space is great. So you gotta think about like how much thrust do you need to accelerate at 9.8 meters per second, and is there enough fuel to do 6 days worth plus a launch, right? Because if you're going 3 days to Mars, boom, get to Mars, you might have to land, right? And then you gotta take off and do 3 days on the way back. So you need 6 days and change worth of fuel to be able to do that trip at 1G gravity. And on the way back, you might not actually want to go at 1G gravity. You might want to go at Martian gravity. So it might take you 9 days because you're a third the gravity. Or slowly accelerate faster and faster and faster, or increase your rate of acceleration so that you get back to 1G after several days. So you ease your way into back to Earth gravity. Something like that. Michael Harrow, did you see the Wikipedia of Andrew Tate? It shows Greta Thunberg as an opponent that beat him in his record. Yeah, that was funny. TKO. So it's got a list of like all of like 75 of Andrew Tate's kickboxing fights. And the most recent one is him losing in a TKO to Greta Thunberg. That's funny. People are hilarious. Cat, you're trying to read the fan mail? You're trying to play with the baseball. Wait, you want the baseball? Those you want? Want that? You can play the baseball. Good job. I'm going to take these headphones. I'm going to put them over here or something. There, you got plenty of room now to play the baseball. Oh, jeez, my knees. That almost destroyed everything. Okay. All right. Whew. I'll knock my water glass over with the headphones. Good job, Houston. Good job. Okay. I'm all right. Guitar stuff. If MMTLP gets his 2 days, will that make MOAS impossible for other plays as they'll realize what can happen in larger shorted stocks? It's very possible, or it triggers everything else because everyone gets so margin called liquidated that the entire thing comes crashing down. I think it's very possible that both those things can happen. The cat is just in a mood. He's like tearing through pencils right now. Kitty, don't eat the eraser, you little weirdo. It's gotta taste terrible. Yeah, you got it in your mouth. Yeah, I don't like that, do you? Bum, 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 bum. Iggy says, Garrett Barney, have a fancy drink with a tiny umbrella for me. All right. Raven, Houston, if FINRA was a volcano, which volcano would those fuckers be? One fixing to erupt. Yeah. They're something to be catastrophic. They'd be sort of an unexpected, Mazama type eruption. where just everything is just laid to waste, and they go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know I had that power." I think that's kind of where they are. Cat, you keep getting. Yeah, stay over there. Go over there. Jay Hole in Houston, I have a random QSIP number showing up in my Schwab account that says NextBridge. Is that the boat we're all in, or did Schwab pull a fast one on me and do something without my approval? They're telling us those are the shares. But if you try to do something with those shares that would suggest you have those shares, the brokerages seem reticent to do those things, because then they're like, well, actually, the shares arrive. You just haven't actually put them into your account yet. I think it's, a paper product's nightmare for them. And they know they got X number of shares, but they don't have enough for all their customers. Why? Because we saw the FTDs come out for the first half of December, right? And those FTDs show that they were selling naked shares up until the end. So it's physically impossible for them to actually have your shares for you. And we got instances like Webull turning people's lending on without their permission on the 14th, and then lending out all of their NextBridge shares. To who? Who are they lending shares to? Like, how? To what? There's nothing for sale. There's no, Cat, don't you dare unplug the camera by trying to, no, don't you do that. The camera's still working? Okay, don't quit messing with the camera. Jeez, my knees, Cat. Sorry, monkey. No, quit it. Ow. Come here, you little monster. Come here. Just sit on my lap and stop trying to bite cables and then ruining things. Yes, stay right there. Just a little turd bucket. Yes, you are. Just a little turd monster. So, bite my HDMI cables that are keeping the monkey cam running. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Nope. Don't you try to go anywhere. You stay right there. Nope. He's like, I want to get back and I want to bite that cable so hard. That's exactly where you're going. And now he's sitting on my face. He's on top of the calendar. Sorry, Vizio guy, you might get a little cat stamp on your calendar there. All right, where was I? I got distracted. Michael Harrow, Houston, can we write off our payoffs to porn stars, NDAs on our tax returns? You guys didn't know, Trump's tax returns were released, and he did a tax write-off for his payoff to Stormy Daniels. So his $140,000 he paid her to keep quiet was a tax write-off. Get yourselves a fancy accountant that can make everything a write-off. He wrote off $70,000 a year in hair product. It was a write-off that he had. I go through like 2.5 bottles of Suave every year, so does that mean I can use that as a write-off? I do cut my own hair though, so I don't have. I mean, can I pay myself for cutting my own hair? Because if I went to a barber or a salon, it would cost a lot more, right? So my doing it myself means I have volunteered my time, and I should be able to get a tax write-off for it. Michael Harrow, Houston, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, does that make Lethal Weapon also a Christmas movie? Heck yeah. Lethal Weapon opens with Christmas music, right? And then there's the lady who's high out of her brain and jumps from the building. It's Christmas. It's all about Christmas. The holidays, yeah, it's a Christmas movie. It happens to be happening during Christmas. Shane Black and those guys, just brilliant. They just knew how to write movies, man. The layers of depth in those action films are something you just don't see anymore. I don't know if it's the screenwriting, or the fact that they're shooting on location and not in front of green screens for everything. But last year, my younger roommate had never seen all these 80s action films because he wasn't alive. So we went through them all. We went through all the Die Hards, Lethal Weapons, stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, these movies are amazing because they're actually blowing shit up. They actually blew up a car. That car is exploding. It feels much more real than like some CGI of a car exploding and then like green screening. It just, I don't know. The action movies, late 80s, early 90s are just so much better than action films today because of that. This feels realness to it. Rambo is also a Christmas movie. Is it? Was it Christmas time when he goes to that town that's supposedly in Washington? Was that Christmas time? It might have been. Been a while since I watched the original Rambo. I don't know how I keep getting invited onto spaces, but it's just not, the timing isn't working out for me. But when I have joined spaces, I don't know how you guys sit on there all day. It's so boring. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know how you guys do spaces. It's just, I don't know. I gotta do something else with my brain than sit on spaces all day. I don't know. I can't do it. BW brand Rambo has a Christmas tree and presents in the background of the police station. Okay, cool. Yes, Christmas movie. Christmas movie. Even though like Die Hard came out in June of 1988, June of 88, it's still a Christmas movie. I mean, Reindeer Games came out in February that year. It's a Christmas movie. It's called Reindeer Games. It takes place at Christmas. Yes, it came out in February because it was a dog shit movie, and Frankenheimer died in the middle of it, so it got edited all weird and finished. But man, John Frankenheimer, that guy could direct a movie. Holy crap! Too bad he died. Did you guys ever watch the Driver series, the short films that were made for BMW maybe 15, 20 years ago? John Frankenheimer, the one he made is amazing. It's like a 5-minute action film starring Clive Owen, and just incredible. A lot of famous directors did these short little 5-minute action films. The Guy Ritchie one's hilarious. He was still married to Madonna at the time, and just basically like took Madonna's divaness and destroyed it. It was incredible. Look them up. Look up the Driver series with Clive Owen for BMW. It's like 10 short films. They're all 5-6 minutes long, and they're really good. They're really good. They got like Mickey Rourke in them and everyone else, but they're all directed by like famous action directors. Okay. Well, people talk about doing hospice. Goodness gracious, Miss Missy, you have a calling, I guess. I don't think I could do that work. Bum, bum, bum. Thomas Dubois. Houston, do you have any info on the demand for fresh water? It will be 40% more than will be available for the human race. I got no info on that. But if we are able to get cold fusion going, we'll have plenty of energy to do desalination. So we'll be able to desalinate lots and lots of water cheaply and effectively. So the big problem we have now is that rain patterns are changing. We're getting longer periods of drought, shorter, quicker bursts of just insane amounts of rainfall, and that's not a great way to maintain and stabilize soils and to collect water. If you're overwhelming levees and dams with 12 inches of rain in 5 hours, you're not going to be able to collect and maintain that water. A lot of the fresh water around the world is from glaciers and snowmelt. And if we are having really short winters with not very much snowpack that can melt into reservoirs, then we're gonna have a lot of problems around the world when it comes to water. And like glaciers are disappearing in the Himalayas, and that feeds 2 billion people, right? Maybe more. A lot of that water comes from melting glaciers that need to be sustained with snowfall every year, and the snowfall isn't coming like it used to, and the glaciers are disappearing. So when the last glacier disappears in the Himalayas, then everyone in Pakistan, India, southern China, Bangladesh, Burma, they all die. They don't have any water. So we need the advancement of technology of things that like cold fusion can provide to make sure we can desalinate. And it's also a great way to, if we can desalinate and take a whole bunch of water out of the ocean and maybe stick it up in the mountains, we can, maybe keep sea level at bay if there's a slow rise in sea level. That's going to take a lot of engineering and a lot of manufacturing to create enough desalination plants to do that. I don't know how to say this correctly, but Casanero Bemboyi, I hope I said that right. Houston, is it possible to invest in other countries' financial markets, example Canada, take our money out of the U.S. corrupt financial system? Yes. Your broker, and it has to be a broker that has access to the OTC markets and things. So Schwab, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, those big brokerages, not the little apps. We won't be able to do that. And you have to apply for permission to invest in these foreign markets. And there's usually a pretty steep price, so it's hard to day trade because there might be like a $50 transaction fee to invest. So like if I want to buy shares in GMGF, which is on the Toronto Exchange, it costs me $50 just for the right to do the action. So if I'm going to trade shares, I want to make sure it's a bulk of shares because I'm already losing $50 off the transaction. So I want to make sure it's 1,000 shares or whatever that I'm buying, so that I can and have an intention to hold it for a longer period of time, because I don't want to lose $100 by buying and selling right off the top on stock like that. So yes, you can do it. It just might cost you a pretty penny per transaction. Daphne, 46 a share for what? Oh, that was for Sears. If in fact they've got $5 billion, 100 million shareholders, and 300 to 400 million in debt, it'll come out to $46 per shareholder. BTW brand, 3,400 gallons of water to produce a smartphone, 6,000 gallons of water to run a 60-watt light bulb for half a day, and 200 gallons of water to make one bowl of dog food. Everything is like this. Yeah, well, the great thing about water is, for the most part, water passes through a system and it remains as water, right? Like if I'm in a river and I'm using a whole bunch of water to get gold, yes, I'm using thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of water, but that water passes through the gold sluice and continues on its way, and I collect the gold out of it. So I can say that, yeah, it took 100,000 gallons of water to get this ounce of gold, but that water still went to its destination. In the Mississippi River, one drop of water, as it goes to the Mississippi River, goes to the human body like 14 times before it reaches the mouth of the Mississippi. Because someone drinks it, pees it out, goes to treatment facility. That treatment facility jettisons clean water back into the Mississippi River. Someone else drinks it, and so on. It goes to the human body 14 times before it ends up out at the mouth of the river in the Gulf of Mexico. So, people are like, oh, it takes 8,000 gallons of water to make a pound of beef. Well, that cow is drinking the water and pissing it out, and then it goes back in the earth and becomes water somewhere else again. That's just the nature of water. And so at least that water cycle doesn't mean like you're using 3,400 gallons of water that disappears forever. What we need is more of that water to come back to land as storage than just end up in the oceans and not come back. Oh, and there goes the chat reset again. Okay, where was I? I was at 1040. 62,000 gallons of water for a ton of steel. Sounds about right. Bailey says, I see MMTLP going nowhere for months. BW Brand says it's possible if Rose doesn't get her way. The judge is going to have to make a ruling. The whole point of emergency injunction at TRO is like, now, man, now. And if he pussyfoots around for a long time, I think she could apply to ask for another judge. She should be able to like blackball that judge and be like, this one. At least he can do that in state courts. I don't know about federal courts. I don't know anything about federal courts. But if the judge doesn't do anything, then they're not doing their job. They need their judge. They make rulings. That's what they do. They're going to have to make a ruling at some point. Courtesy Flush Houston, do you think AMC will move up shortly? No. I think what's going to happen is AMC is going to drop and APE's going to rise, and they're going to find some level between them before the combination happens. And I'm not sure what price will be absorbed when they do the combination, if it's going to be a mixture between the two or an average between the two. And then they're going to do the 10-to-1 reverse, and then you'll have that new price. If they do it now, it might be $50-$60 per share. If they wait, it might be $20 per share. So no, I don't think AMC is moving up anywhere anytime soon until they combine. Aaron Salentine, do you think Robinhood was looking for a real share to put my account in those 2 days? Is that what I'm trying to say? Probably. They probably don't have it. Everyone's talking about ice cream. Thomas Dubois, was the COVID-19 mutations caused by administering half strength of full vaccine capacity by giving one shot, then weeks later administering second to complete the series? No. Mutations in COVID were mostly the result of unvaxxed people getting infected like crazy during that initial period where we're trying to vaccinate everyone. And the U.S. government failing miserably in getting vaccines to the third world countries. There were people elsewhere in the world who wanted vaccinations and couldn't get them because we're pussyfooting around. And we're like, well, sorry, African nations. We're not going to ship you any vaccines because you don't have enough money to pay us for these vaccines. And so we allowed those populations to get ravaged, and mutations were able to form. And those mutations were different enough that the original vaccine no longer recognized that new variant, and then it was able to spread again. So what we need is we need to figure out how to vaccinate all 8 billion people at the exact same time, and then done. But we don't have a system in place to do that, so we're going to be dealing with this crap forever until it becomes an endemic virus. And don't you bite the camera, you little jerk. Stop biting the camera. Yeah, I know. You just want to bite the camera. And if not the camera, you want to bite me. I get it. So I think that's what the problem was. The original vaccine for the alpha variant was fantastic. 97% efficacy, super great, worked really well. But we only got like 40% of the population in the US vaccinated with that. And then it became beta and gamma and everything, Omicron, and all these other different Greek names. And before long, the efficacy was no longer there. It was this completely new virus with enough new mutations that our bodies were like, that spike protein doesn't look familiar, and then we all got infected by it. And that's where we are. And like the Sinovac vaccine in China had like a 20% efficacy. It was a pretty terrible vaccine. And now they're just letting it just rip through the population. So you have, 800 million to 1.5 billion people having this thing just tear through the population, and you're gonna have so many mutations come out of it. And then China's just like putting them on planes and sending them around the world. So if you read about the plane that landed in Milan, 2 planes landed in Milan, more than half the passengers tested positive. So there's going to be definitely a large number of variants that come out of that, because when you have a large number of people being affected in a very short period of time, you have a lot of genetic mutations that happen. And the likelihood of a mutation happening that's beneficial increases exponentially during those times. So China's got the largest population in the world, and they're having the largest series of infections the world has seen yet. So definitely going to have mutations come out of that. Okay. Thomas Dubois, why does bacteria mutate, rendering antibacterial soap not antibacterial? Well, bacteria is a living organism, meaning that it eats, it replicates, it shits. So it is a creature. Bacteria is a creature. And you can get with a life force mutations that can come about from preference, sexual preference, dietary preference, evolutionary drivers that can constrain it. And what can happen is that you might have antibacterial soap or antibiotics that would wipe out an entire population, but they're used poorly. So let's say you give out antibiotics to a lot of people, and folks only use half the regimen, and then they kind of give up and they stop taking their amoxicillin or penicillin or whatever they're using. And then all of a sudden, because they've introduced this essential toxin to the population of bacteria, and they didn't do enough to wipe out the bacteria, that there will be certain mutations in that population where one bacteria pops up and like, you know what? Amoxicillin, don't give a shit. It doesn't bother me anymore because it didn't bother my granddaddy, it didn't bother his granddaddy, and so on. And all of a sudden you can have a very strong population that now has immunity to this stuff because you didn't wipe them out to begin with. You didn't wipe out his great-great-granddaddy 3 days ago because you stopped taking the antibiotic regimen. And so we can get superbugs that form that way as drivers. But what happens with viruses is that viral mutation comes not out of an environmental driver, but comes out of replication itself. So you got a virus that enters the body and attaches to a receptor in your body. And what a virus does is it tells that cell that it attaches to, like, hey, you're no longer going to do your function as a cell for this human body. You're going to do the function of me. I am a little piece of code, and I'm telling the RNA strands and the enzymes inside that cell to make more of me. Make more of me, and that cell starts, stops making boogers or whatever and starts making more of the viral cells. Starts pumping those out. Now, because it's a pretty insane system, we're getting like trillions and trillions and trillions of replications inside of one infected person. The odds of that copy machine, like if you make a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, stuff's going to be wrong. Colors are going to be faded. Letters are going to be hard to see. And when you start making these copies over and over and over again, they get introduced to things in their environment that might strip them of certain codes of their DNA or RNA, such as oxidants. Oxidants in the system can pull entire atoms or molecules out of a chain because some oxygen comes by and it's like, I like that carbon, give it to me. And all of a sudden, this new viral thing has got to make do minus a particular carbon atom. And that might change an entire structure of how that virus attaches to something else. And in our immune systems are trained to look for very, very specific things. And if that thing gets too out of whack and all of a sudden we can't recognize it anymore, then it's going to pass right through our immune system and attach and start replicating all over again. So the more replication you have, the more ability there is for mutations to appear. And the more ability is for mutations to appear, the more ability there is for a mutation to that virus that allows it to reduce the efficacy of our immune systems and of the vaccines that we create to fight them. So there's some viruses that are straight DNA and it's harder to mutate, but RNA vaccine, like DNA vaccines, you've got the C's, G's, T's, and A's that are connected to each other. And like an A and a C will always connect, and a T and a G will always connect, and you can't change that. RNA, you only have one half of that. So you can replace any of these things you want with an A, C, T, or G, and it's still going to be an RNA strand. It'll just be different all of a sudden. And so RNA viruses, flu viruses, cold viruses, RSV, coronaviruses, they're all these RNA strand viruses that are really easy to mutate. And so unless you cut it off early, like we did with SARS, we got to like 13,000 infections, managed to like cut everyone off and not let them transmit to anybody, and then boom, the disease is gone. Then that's a great way to like head it off the pass. We didn't do that this time around. We let it just go. And now it's in the population and we're never going to get rid of it. We had our chance to get rid of it, but we didn't do it. So there you go. That's the two different ways these things can mutate and defeat the things we have to fight them. SS Mel Johnson, Houston. I always thought that if humans live as long as dinosaurs, that we will branch out into space and eventually see our own species as alien when the encounters occur. Very possible. I mean, that's much like, sociologically speaking, much like in the Expanse. That once people leave the Earth, they no longer see themselves as Earthlings, right? They see themselves as Beltas and living in the belt, or Moonanites or whatever, Moonlings. That once there's a psychological difference, and if you're in a completely different environment, you're going to grow differently in a low gravity environment, and so you're not going to recognize yourself in other humans. And it's not going to take very long at all. We'll start having weird different bones. What are you looking at, cat? Yeah. It's I don't think it'll take very long for us to speciate once we get to space. I mean, imagine, we do have a large variation in human size, right? We have little people who can be like 2-3 feet tall. We've got giants that are in the NBA, they're 7 feet tall. We got people who are 1,000 pounds. We got rail thin folks. We got, medium-sized people. The variations in the human form just among the female and males of the species are really different. But now let's imagine you've got belters. You got people that live in the asteroid belt in low gravity environments. They're going to grow to be like 7 feet tall and rail thin. They're gonna have like weird mutations that happen because of the cosmic rays that they're going to be dealing with. So they're going to have lots of experimentation, mutation, and cancers, all sorts of weird stuff that will happen. So if you're human and you're, I don't know, a 6 foot tall male, and you're used to a 1G environment, and that is what your brain is looking for, and you end up in the asteroid belt where all the women are like 7'5", have really weak hearts, rail thin, they got little bird bones that can snap really easily, and they're just like toothpicks. There's going to be sexual selection that goes on there, where an earthling's going to be like, I don't know if I want to have relations with this weird beanpole that will snap in half and weighs 45 pounds. And vice versa, because you'll be something that the belter but look at this tiny little weirdo that's like really dense and fat. I'm not attracted to that at all. So you can start to get a speciation there that happens. Cat, if you step on that keyboard, so help me God. Just get out of the way of the chat. I cannot see. Can't see. Your head is in the way. Move it. Move your head. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. MT Houston, if GME were to be fully DRS, what timeline would we be looking at for MOAS? Acme has been fully registered for weeks now. It's unlikely DRS would lead to MOAS, in my opinion. I think you're right. They still short, regardless if it's registered or not. That's just the way it is. I think a better, quicker method is to offer things like crypto dividends, things they cannot replicate and they cannot fake, and to force closing of positions. Just crypto dividend, crypto dividend, crypto dividend. Someone suggested that NextBridge should do a 1 penny dividend, just to get a share count. And on your statement, you'll be able to see if it was a payment in lieu or if you got the real dividend or not. I think it's brilliant. And you can like, did you get a payment in lieu? Did you get a real dividend? And see how many hands go up. Wouldn't cost much. Penny on 165 million shares costs you $1.6 million. Yeah, that's doable. Cat, quit getting in the way. Just lay down, buddy. There you go. There you go. Lay down. Get out of the way of the chat so I can read. I get avocados. I get thirsty drinking. Once you drink water, he's a role model for hydration. I can't talk this much without going through like 30 ounces of water. Chalupa is part of the camera crew. The cameras like to chew on things like ours, made to send you some chew toys. He likes to chew on things, likes to chew on. Like he likes to chew on things like pencils. He'll like to chew on this guy all day long, right? Oh, you want it? You gotta come get it. You gotta come get it. If people gotta see you get it. Yeah, you're a panther, aren't you? You're a panther, then come get it. Come get it. Come on. Come on. Want it? Come on. Come get it. They can't see you. You're off camera. You can see a little paw. Come on, up here. Can you get up here? Get up here? Up here? I want to see you try and murder. I want to see you murder. I want to see you murder. Oh, there's a little paw. There's a little paw. Everyone wants to see your 6 toes. Yeah, you polydactyl little weirdo. Come on, get up here. Ow, that's my hand. Get it out. Oh, yeah. Come on. Get it. There it is. Just see his little claws. Get it. Get that weapon. Get up here. Come on. Oh, did I bop you in the head with it? How about you get over here? Get over here. You want to play that pencil? Get over here, people can see you. Yeah, look at that. Look at that pencil wag back and forth. Don't you want it? Yeah. Come on. Get it. Get over here. Get over here and get that pencil. Don't just stare at it. Digga. There. Now you can see. Yeah, look at there you go. Oh, murder. Kill. That's what he's been doing. Kill it. Get it. Murder. Get the pencil. All right, so that's what we tune in for right there. All right. Oh, Monkey, was I playing with the cat too much? Was that? Oh, you're looking up at the treats. Yeah, you greedy dog. Just a greedy dog. Okay. Feel don't get through the Rambo section. Swing Trade saw the Clive Owen BMW films. They're great. They're great little short films. Absolutely fantastic. And yes, the John Frankenheimer one bucks. That is a good action film. With kind of terrifying machine gun sounds a la Heat. What do you want? Oh, now you want to just murder because I put it on the keyboard. Okay, back up there. Get it up there. Oh, crying out loud. Okay. Don't stand on the keyboard. Okay, people talking about filing complaints. Awesome. Get out of the way. Okay, where was I? I've got a couple minutes left. I am... Okay, there we are. We're there. Talking about the merger of NextBridge and what's his butt. So they have ownership of all the land now that they're going to try and sell. Shark Attack. Elon announced his semi-truck will drive millions of miles without breaking down and brakes last forever. Sure. I mean, he says lots of things. But, the trucks can go 500 miles and then they got to charge somewhere for like 10 hours before they can go again. So you aren't going to be able to have like tandem teams driving 24 hours a day. You can do one leg, then you got to charge. So it's going to be great for short drives until the battery technology gets better. That's what we're waiting for with the solid state stuff like GMG batteries and whatnot. But I don't know how the brakes will last forever unless they're doing some sort of weird like magnetic braking system, because otherwise you need friction to do it, and friction wears parts down. So I'll have to see what he's done for braking. BDB brand, I bet I could break Elon's truck in a week. Just like his shatterproof windows that he shattered and was like, BDB brand, to be fair, Tesla shouldn't go the luxury route, but that's how they make money currently. Yeah, the original founders of Tesla, their plan was we're going to create this fast little roadster, be a proof of concept. We're going to get a whole bunch of rich guys who are going to buy it, and that's going to fund us making an everyman car. So we can be the VW Beetle of cars. And we can sell 20 million of them for cheap, and we'll take over the market. Well, Elon kicked those guys out and was like, luxury cars all the way. And so they became a luxury car brand. But that was never the intention of the original founders of the company. They wanted to make an everyman car with the money they got out of their roadster. And then the one attempt at making an everyman car still costs like $50,000. That's the Model 3. So, oh well. It's Liddy. Houston, what about the radiation from the water in Fukushima if we are talking about desalination? Most desalination is you evaporate the water from the contaminants, salt and everything else, and then you get this fresh water that's distilled and then plunk, and it should not carry over any radiation isotope. So it's literally just H2O, and that's it. The radiation that's inside the water is in cesiums, and that'll be left behind in the salts that are left behind. But for the most part, the solution to pollution is dilution. So as long as you aren't desalinating next to the leaking Fukushima plant, then the amount of material in those salts will be spread out amongst the rest of the ocean, and you won't have to worry about it. Plus, you need to get your iodized salt. You don't have to worry about the cesium getting into your thyroids and killing you. So there you go. That's why iodized salt is important. Terry Haugen, writ of bodily possession. Thank you. That's the term she used. That's quite a terrifying term, and I like it. All right. Avocado salesman at Lowe's tried to mansplain to me about the water-saving features of a new washer. I looked at him incredulously and replied, "I thought the water cycle was a closed circuit." You guys are hilarious. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Andrew Dell, morning Houston. What do you think of people selling AMC to buy APE when it converts? They're up 300%. Yeah, I mean, kinda. That's they. Yeah, kinda. I mean, if you could sell your AMC shares at $5-6, and then you buy in your APE shares at $1, then you can get 6 of them. And then when they combine, you'll have 6 times as many shares in the combination as you would if you just stayed in AMC. So, there's going to be some actions that happen there as a result of that. And what that's going to do is it's going to level them out. AMC will come down, APE will go up, they'll level out, they'll merge, they'll do the reverse split, and then boom. Shark Attack, only Houston can save AMC. No kidding. I tried. Didn't get on the board because of the clause in the corporate charter that only existing board members can approve potential new board members. So, which is crazy because we should have gotten somebody. There are people in this chat who own more shares than the entire board of AMC combined. There's some of you in here who have a lot of shares. You don't talk about it much, but I know we've talked a little bit. And you have like millions of AMC shares. You have more than anybody on the board of AMC, and you should be on the board. There needs to be a retail investor on the board of every company. Multiple retail investors on the board of every company. There just should be, so that these companies can actually focus on the investors of their company. But AMC is a good old boys club, and they'll never let you in unless we get somebody who can get to that magical 10% ownership in the company. So if there's anybody out there who can afford 100 million shares of stock right now, get in there, get those 100 million apes. They'll give you 10 million shares in the company, which you'll need to get 150 million. So we need somebody who can afford 150 million ape shares. So when the combination happens, they've got 15 million of the 150 million shares total, and they will be at 10%. They'll be an insider, and that could be our way to get a new person on the board. But anyone has 150 million bucks to do that, they are generally not a retail investor at that point. All right, we're at midnight. Chalupa murder mittens. Chalupa is not says no. Chalupa is a little fatty. You're just a little chunker, but you're my little chunker, right? It's okay. You can be a chunker. But he does have a lot of claws because he's got 6 fingers, so he can definitely shred when he wants to. Dana, that's the latest I've ever seen Houston up. How are you still up, Houston? It's only midnight where I am. But I am going to be logging off here in a second. Monkey Butt, where are you? You're on the floor. How about we... Oh, yeah, that get your attention? Huh? I got 2 more of these. There's 2 more in here from Mystery Mike, which means we can do 1 more in the next show. Got 1 for now, right? Want to come up here? You want to? Can we break off a piece? The cat want one? You want that? You can smell it forever, but you got to eat it eventually. You want it or not? Take it out of my hand. No? All right. Mike will take it. Okay. Gotta come get it. Gotta come get it. Gotta take it from me. That's the rule. There you go. All right. Okay, that's how we're going to end the show. Happy New Year, everybody. I'll see you next year. Kitty? Anything? A high five? Anything? No? I want to thank everybody for joining me, hanging out in the late night after dark on a Friday. We introduced the new After Dark video that Tyler made for us, but we can go to the classic for the way out. And I'll catch you guys on Monday. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a little video at midnight tomorrow for New Year's. Last year I ate a Hot Pocket for New Year's because I never had one before. Maybe you guys can suggest some food I haven't had before and I can eat that for New Year's because there's no Chipotle around here for me to get a Chipotle because I never had Chipotle. But we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do something. All right. Cool. All right, Monkey? You want to thank everybody? Yeah? Okay. All right. Have a good night. I'll see you guys. Market is closed on Monday, so maybe I'll see you guys Tuesday. I don't know. Sometime next year, I'll see you all. New Year kitty nipples. Oh, look at those kitty nipples. Look at them. They're just little